going to be a bit of a different topic compared to some of the others that have been discussed today. So this is really discussing how you can optimize some of the training data that has come into the conversations mentioned earlier. So basically, what I've done to work on this is I have created an integration between 51 and V7 Darwin. So who are V7? So V7 basically, so this has been created by our marketing team so that I'm not saying anything I shouldn't, but basically it's got two products, one which has been around for a while called Darwin, which basically is our flagship product and helps people to generate high quality labeling data and making sure that you've got all of the tools necessary in order to do that in the most cost effective way. We've also released a new product called V7 Go, which is quite a different product entirely and helps people to build these multimodal solutions for different problems, such as extracting data from documents, and also things such as if you've got large language models, any kind of foundation model that you are trying to fine tune, working on those. So that has been discussed in detail in a recent talk at Google Next, so I won't be covering that too much today. So one of the most expensive parts of a machine learning project really is obtaining high quality training data. If you've got a medical project which requires experts in the field, that training data can be hundreds of dollars an hour if you've got experts who are labeling that. So you really want to optimize this as much as possible. And this is where the connection between 51 and V7 Darwin is so important, because what you're doing is you're optimizing the subset of data which is being sent over for that labeling. So here I'm going to discuss what I did and what I found from that. So again, so basically 53% of organizations rated their ability to mine and exploit data as pretty limited. And yeah, from the perspective I see as a solutions engineer at V7, I often see customers who really struggle with optimizing their pipelines, and I help them to do that. So the motivation behind this really was, with V7, what we want to do is have all of the amazing data curation abilities that you have in 51. So being able to utilize all of those wonderful features in the 51 brain to pick exactly the optimal selection of data in order to annotate. So you really are saving as much money as possible and you are optimizing your model's performance. Another thing is that customers really love the feature set of both products more generally, and we really wanted to combine them in the optimal way. A customer recently said, a director of engineering at one of the largest companies in the world, that 51 is the best at data curation in the world. So we're not going to argue with that. We want to connect in. And of course, the last one is a topic called active learning. So some of you may have heard this already, but it is basically the process of iterating through your data to understand how your model is performing against different classes and making sure that you optimize for that in your training. Great. So just a quick walkthrough of what I did. Essentially a lot of plumbing. And luckily there's a pretty standard way of doing this, so it's pretty happy with that. So thank you very much, 51 team. But basically comprises building an importer, getting the data out of 51 into V7, vice versa, getting that annotated data then out again back into 51 from V7, and doing all of the conversions in between. And I just wanted to give a huge shout out to Alan, who I think is on the call, he was earlier at least, for all his help, particularly giving me best practices around how people use 51 and really how we can best connect. So thank you very much to him. And also a huge shout out to Simon, who took over some of the work when I was off sick. So wanted to give a huge shout out to him. He's the CTO here at V7. So some of the challenges that I found when going through. So overall was fairly intuitive. Of course, lots of plumbing, lots of the nitty-gritty that comes with that. But one of the things that was quite interesting was thinking how different people go about constructing what they call the label schema, which essentially is how someone will define what they want to label in an annotation run. So that was an interesting topic that seemed to vary a lot between customers, and I'm still learning at the moment, but we've covered about 99% of users now. So that was an interesting one, and it'd be great to really find all of those use cases and make sure we're optimizing for customer usage. Another interesting one was the difference in complex polygons. So at the moment, there are differences, of course, in the way that different platforms have certain features. So at the moment, if you wanted that, it would be sort of unfilled polylines that are returned, but not a huge issue though. Another interesting one was matching the different attributes and the different ontologies between 51 and V7. There was an upgrade to that in the V7 platform, which of course was interesting when creating this integration because that happened at the same time. And really tracking usage. So we've got quite a few early adopters, which is exciting, but it would be great to get a few more metrics on that. So currently in the works. So conclusions. So it's been a pretty reasonable success. So it's been launched for the last 3 months. I've got 5 at least customers using it, including 4 teams in a very large enterprise. Thousands of images and videos being labeled, hundreds of thousands of annotations, and that will probably go up a few orders of magnitude since there are some pretty hefty projects that are lined up. Upcoming features, which are pretty cool. So we're going to be introducing multi-view support. So say, for example, you've got several different camera angles and you want to be importing those from 51 from a grouped data set into V7 in order to label optimally. In that case, that is being supported. That is being built now by me. OBB support. So even though this is a bit of an old feature that not many people use that often anymore, do correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. Apologies if there are any big OBB supporters out there. But that is being introduced as a conversion. So you can label in polygons and get your OBBs out, as well as a normal bounding box, normal orientation. Further annotation types. So at the moment, supporting object detection, instance segmentation, and key points as well, and we'll have key point skeletons, ellipses, and more in the future. And open sourcing everything. So at the moment, whilst I'm getting everything tied off, it is behind closed doors, unfortunately, but it will be open source. And I look forward to everyone seeing it and commenting, and yeah, any PRs are absolutely welcome. Awesome. So any further resources that anyone wants to take a look at? So you can try V7 Darwin for free and V7 Go if you're interested. I mentioned that briefly earlier. And here are our integration docs and, of course, the PyPy link as well to the integration. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Keeping it short and sweet, as I know everyone's been on the call for a while. Any questions, let me know. You've got my email down there. You can add me on LinkedIn if you like. Very much open to questions now and any that you think of in the future.